Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charles Sebastian, and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show. We cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we'll give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see it. Let's get straight into this. So, as you guys know, we really chronicled the fallout between Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless a number of years ago, right? We talked about it ad nauseum, and we were one of the channels that were talking about that news that, really did a good job covering it based from the feedback and the viewership and everything like that, right? And ever since their departure, since the breakup, Shannon Sharpe went on to ESPN. You saw how that ended, but then he still has a very successful podcast. Skip Bayless went into the podcast game and he was struggling for quite some time and then ultimately found some footing on Gil's Arena. So he's there now. I'm sure they're paying him good money there. So they kind of just went their separate ways. From time to time, they'd been interviewed about it, about the fallout and all of that, right? So Skip made a visit to Vlad TV. And during his visit, they were talking about his career, et cetera, et cetera. Then they get to the part about the fallout between himself and Shannon Sharpe. And then Vlad brought up the infamous exchange, take off your glasses. Put your glasses back on. We did shows about it. Everybody knows it, right? But we rarely get a chance to hear Skip's side of the story. We've heard other people's side, but we've heard, I think, even Shannon's side, but we didn't get a chance to hear Skip. And in this particular audio, Skip essentially goes on to say that after his comments about Damar Hamlin and those other things, Shannon Sharpe essentially wanted nothing to do with Skip. And I'm like, wow, okay. This is what he said. But before we get into it, today's video is brought to you by our sponsor, Prize Picks. All right, guys, the playoff push is heating up. Tournament hoops are here. The Masters is underway, and the NBA playoffs are right around the corner. There's no better way to cash in if you're right on all of this action than Prize Picks, America's #1 sports pick app. So I jumped into their team picks feature, and honestly, I had no idea why I waited this long. First time I tried it, I was picking game winners on some of these games. Came out right on my first one, and watching the game just hit completely different after that. And here's what I love. On top of the players' picks you already know, you can now pick game winners, spreads, and totals. You can even call who wins the championship or takes home the MVP. Mix and match across basketball, baseball, hockey, golf, all in the same app. And if your picks get off to a hot start, you can cash out early before the game even ends. Now download the Prize Picks app today, pick your first game winner, spread, or total as the playoff push rolls on, and get $50 in daily fantasy lineups when you play your first $5 lineup when you use code CLNS. That's code CLNS to get $50 in daily fantasy lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. All right, so what we want to do is I want to play what Skip had to say here first about the initial fallout, and I'm going to come back and continue on. Take a listen to that.
Well, it seems like not too long after the put your glasses back on comment, Shannon Sharpe actually leaves. He leaves Undisputed in June 2023.
He did.
And it seemed like there was some bad blood, because I remember I watched this one interview. It was at some conference. He was on stage and they asked him whether he could ever work with you before again. He said, no, I realized that I can't make money with Skip Bayless anymore. I can't work with him anymore. He realized that. And it seemed like it was based around...
He made a lot of money, wasn't it?
But have you heard some of that? Some of these comments?
Nope, I don't follow it. I only know that he came to me 2 days before he was scheduled to leave and said, is there any way we can make this work? And I said, yes, there is.
Great. So you heard Skip. Then later on in that segment, they were talking about, Vlad brought up the Damar Hamlin tweet. And as you guys know, that sparked another controversy on the show. Shannon, I think, staged a mutiny. He decided not to come to work the next day. Then the day he came back, they got into this argument on air, and things were getting very, 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 very messy. But what I heard, what Skip ended up revealing here was that even after that, Shannon Sharpe had made it clear that he wanted nothing to do with Skip. And this is just another instant of where you could see the relationship just falling apart. Take a listen to Skip explain this here.
Well, I mean, Shannon Sharpe, and you talked about it, and I guess he felt it was insensitive, that it should have been more focused on DeMar's health at that point.
Yeah.
And he asked you to take the tweet down. He said, I'm not going to take it down because I stand by what I tweeted.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that kind of went on. And that, they say, was part of the reason why Shannon left, and and so forth, along with some other reasons. And
I don't know. I have no idea what he was thinking. I just know he didn't come to work the next day in protest.
Really?
Yes, and that the higher ups at Fox were very unhappy with him, as was Lil Wayne, who texted me during the show and said, "Hey, if I'd known, I would have come in and sat across from you." So I don't know. And then the next day he came back and I was told that he would let it go and just talk about an injury that his brother Sterling had suffered that pretty much did end his career. I worked with Sterling at ESPN, and we came on live, and Shannon went after me about the tweet, and I told him that nobody upstairs had any problem. That's the God's truth. Nobody at Fox had any problem. So if you can find somebody who had a problem with it at Fox, you're way ahead of me. But I didn't know of anybody, and I certainly wasn't scolded or suspended or penalized in any way, shape, or form for that tweet.
Excellent. So you heard what Skip had to say. What are my thoughts about this? Look, when the show was on, I thought it was a great show. I was watching that show more than I did ESPN First Take. The reason I did was because I thought Undisputed was more entertaining than First Take. However, I thought First Take had better topic selection. I think they had a broader topic selection, whereas on Undisputed was just Tom Brady, the Lakers, LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, and a few other topics sprinkled in here and there. So for topic selection, I gave it to ESPN First Take. In terms of the show, yeah. But while we were covering that show a number of years ago, I had already been talking about the cracks. And people were telling me, "Oh no, man, Charles, this is entertainment, man. People are acting, man. You reading a little bit too much into it, man. You're reading it." I'm like, "Nah, I don't really think I am. And it turned out I was proven right on a lot of the things that I speculated about before their breakup. I was right about it. But ultimately now, it's over with. These guys have gone on to do other things in their careers. Skip Bayless is still talking sports. Shannon Sharpe still has 2 successful podcasts. So these guys are both doing well, but I thought it was interesting for Skip to kind of tell his side of the story. So these are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, please leave them in the comments, and we catch you guys on the next show. Peace.